Okay, so major writing assignment number 3, Discourse Community Profile. So this will be a dive into the basketball world by me, Tyler Paul, and my interview subject is Colby Earler, who was also a UNM student, so I want to give a big shout out to him for participating in this interview. Me and Colby, we've been friends like ever since we moved in. He lives on my dorm floor, and lately we've just been like going to Johnson Gym, playing basketball, just going out playing pickup, just doing whatever. Just lately, it's just been basketball. So I thought it would be a great idea to touch up on basketball as my discourse community profile. And yeah, my choice of the basketball world and its significance. So I just want to go over why I chose basketball as my topic for this interview and also like why it's important and why I want to touch up on this subject. So why I have chosen basketball to be the main topic of my interview is because I have been an avid lover of basketball all my life. Growing up, I've always dreamt of becoming an NBA basketball player, but soon that dream was shot down by the realities of a struggling kid living on a Navajo reservation. I still didn't give up basketball completely, as I did play basketball at the elementary level, going on up to the high school level. From then on, I played all throughout the years, which were freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. I love basketball and will continue to, and so I thought this would be a great topic for an interview. Aside from that also, is that many people aren't familiar with basketball. While that may be hard to believe, there are people around the world who do not know what basketball is and how it's played. The content of this interview will touch up greatly on all the values of basketball and what they've been missing out on.
Oh, okay. I'm here with Mr. Colby Earler, and this is my interview for my discourse community for my major writing assignment number 3. So, first off, I want to ask you, how do you play basketball?
How do I play? What are the rules, or like just how the game works?
Yeah, you can explain to me how you play basketball and what the rules are.
So there's basically a 10 foot. There's a 10 foot, it's a ring basically with a backboard behind it, and it has a net hanging from it. And the goal of the game is to get the ball through that net to score points. And you have to dribble the ball when you're moving. So you have to bounce it with one hand or the other, but not both at the same time. And if you pick it up, you can't dribble it again. That's a double dribble. And there's all kinds of little rules like that. But for the most part, those are the basics. And then you're just trying to score on the other team or the other person you're playing against. And most baskets are worth 2 points. And then there's a 3-point line that's worth 3 points, and that's far away, so it's harder to make. And yeah, that's how you play basketball.
Are there any fouls that you can do?
Yeah. So if you it is a contact sport, but if there's also an extent to that, it's not like football. It's a light contact sport, and you don't want to. Basically, any sort of heavy physical contact is usually a foul, and then there's offensive fouls too. Charging, and there's all kinds of little technicalities, but I think the best way to put it is that it's a contact sport, but a soft contact sport. And yeah.
Okay, cool. Next question. Are there any words or terms that are used in game?
While we're playing, we might call little moves, a pick and roll is when I would come set a screen for the person dribbling the ball. And then the defenders would have to switch, and I would roll off and have an open lane for him to toss it to me, and we get a bucket in the paint. And a bucket is another
Bucket
word
in the
for
paint? Could you explain that?
Score. The paint refers to the small area around the basket, and that's usually where bigger guys play, and it's a lot more physical when you're in the paint. And yeah, that's what the paint means. And specifically, it's referring to inside of the key that makes the free throw line. The lines that go out to the free throw line, within those, that's the key, and that's where the paint is.
So
and then
pick and roll. What else you got?
bucket in the paint.
Bucket, paint.
there would be like set a screen.
Set a screen?
Which is where a guy comes and sets his feet and stands in front of your defender so that you could basically get away from him and get a shot off or something.
Let's see. Give me three more.
There's a lane. That's where like you see a open path to the basket, and a cut would be when you run through the lane looking for a pass. And then there's free throws. If you get fouled off of a shot, you can shoot 2 free throws from a line. I believe it's 10 feet from the basket, and the play stops like it's a free throw worth 1 point. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So what is pickup basketball? So you have like an organized like basketball game within your like school, right? But then there's pickup basketball. What is pickup?
So pickup, it could also be known as like street ball. It is basically unorganized. There's no refs. You're just playing casually, no jerseys or anything. And like it can be a 1-on-1, it could be 2-on-2, all the way up to 5-on-5. And sometimes we'll play half court pickup if there's only like 3 or less on each team. And in pickup, like calling your fouls, a lot of times it's a lot more aggressive because you can't really call things that aren't obvious. So pickup basketball tends to be more physical. And then like if you are arguing over a call, you always shoot for it. Like the ball never lies. So whoever makes the call, anytime somebody doesn't agree with the call, whoever made the call has to shoot a 3. And if it goes in, they get their way. And if they miss, then the other person gets their way. And like that decides it at that point. There's no disputing that because the ball never lies.
So where could you play pickup?
I mean, we play pickup at parks. We play pickup at Johnson Gym here at UNM. We play pickup anywhere. Like you could play pickup on a driveway hoop. Like a pickup is just any form of casual basketball. So basically anywhere you have a basketball hoop, you can play pickup.
Okay. So a little personal, but how did you discover basketball?
I think I was in like 5th grade, and I had a friend who played basketball on like a YMCA team. And one day we were just at the park shooting around, and he told me that I should try out for my middle school team because I think we were about to go into 6th grade. And so then I went and tried out for my middle school team. I hadn't really played before, but I made it. And then, I played all through middle school, and then I played up to my sophomore year. I was never that great. I was just like, I had fun, but I wasn't the star player or nothing.
All right. What other games could you tell me that you could play that involves a basketball?
The first one that comes to mind is horse. That's, I think, the most well-known one. It's the most simple one. You make a shot, and if the other person doesn't make it, they get a letter until it spells out horse. And then one of my favorites, as in middle school, every day at lunch, we would all play sign out. And that's basically like a free-for-all, everyone against everyone. There's only one winner game. And like, it's kind of hard to explain, but I had a lot of fun playing that game in middle school. And then another one that's pretty well known that most people know is 21. And that's another free-for-all, like 3 people can play it, and they're all just against each other. And that one is like, basically you play against each other till somebody gets to 21 and wins. And then like do you want me to go over more?
You can go over more.
There's one I'd like is called 3 in the bucket. Basically everybody's lined up around the 3-point line. And if somebody shoots a 3 and it goes down the line, and if they make it, that means there's 1 in the air. And so that means if the next person misses it, they get a point. And if they make it, there's 2 in the air. And the first to 7 points. Did I call it 3 in the bucket? I meant to say 7 up.
7 up or 7 in the bucket?
I think it's 7 up or 7 in the bucket.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then they would have, basically, where you get to 7 points, you're out, and then it's last person standing. And then like, those are all the games I could think of other than like normal basketball.
Okay. So, what did you think of the NBA? Like, how do you view the NBA?
I like the NBA. I think it's cool, but I'm also not really a person who likes to sit down and watch a full game that much.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite parts about like working at a restaurant last year, I would always be like I was a barback, and I would always be like able to watch basketball while I was washing glasses and stuff. And like I was just kind of always checking the scores and betting with my coworkers and stuff. And so it's like it is definitely my favorite sport to watch. I'm just not super into just watching sports too much just for the sake of watching sports, but if it's
Yeah.
on, like I really like to watch it.
Okay, cool. So back to how you play basketball and the game in itself. So are there any unspoken rules when it comes to playing basketball?
So like this more goes for pickup basketball because like in a normal basketball, like in a team setting, the rules are all very clear, laid out. But like in pickup basketball, there's little rules like you have to check up at the beginning of every play, which is basically the person on offense who's starting with the ball has to pass it to their defender, and the defender has to pass it back, just to like initiate that the ball is going and that the play is starting, and like so that's called checking up. And then one of the like more unspoken ones is like you're supposed to pass in off of a checkup. You can't dribble right off the checkup. Another one is if you're gonna call a foul, you have to call it right away. You can't wait and see if the play is gonna work out for you and then call a foul. You gotta like if you're gonna call a foul, you gotta call it. Another unspoken rule. I mean, don't be a ball hog. I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess that's not really
Yeah.
an unspoken rule. It's just annoying.
I mean, that's just like etiquette.
Yeah, like
You know?
people trying to play. We call it hero ball,
Yeah.
where they're just trying to score on three people because they don't want to move the ball around. And like, yeah, that's nobody wants to play with somebody like that. Gets old.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So how often do you play basketball?
Lately, I don't really play very much anymore. Probably on average, like once every 1 or 2 weeks, maybe a little more. But I just don't really have time for it that much anymore. But like in high school and middle school, that was kind of our pastime. Like if me and my friends wanted to hang out and do something, we would probably just go play basketball, just because that was our like mode of hanging out. And like in middle school, that's what we did every single day at lunch. Like we never didn't play basketball. That was always what we did.
Awesome. So with that, what is your favorite memory from basketball?
Ooh, I think my favorite memory is probably like over quarantine. We had a big group of guys that would always meet up at this park.
Yeah.
And every night you could find like 10 or 15 people there looking to play games. And so like we would just run a casual pickup 5-on-5 all the time. And that was really fun because like during COVID, we were stuck inside all day, didn't have nothing to do. So that was like the highlight of my day every day, was playing basketball with everybody. And it was just a lot of fun. Everybody was so tired of being stuck in their houses that like everyone was just really cool to hang out and play with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that about wraps up our interview. Thank you, Mr. Erler.
Yes, sir.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. All right.
Okay, now that we have gotten the interview finished, I have my student learning outcomes to explain to you. So here we go. So number one, I have writing as a social act, and that is to describe the social nature of composing, particularly the role of discourse communities at the local, national, and international level. So what I've written is I feel with the basketball world being as big as it is now, there are people who still need to be informed of how the game is played, along with how big of an impact has on the rest of the world. With this in mind, there are huge communities that are brought together to enjoy the game of basketball. This can be either in the form of putting together and watching your favorite team as a watch party or going to an organized game. Communities can also be brought together through school clubs and social gatherings to display the game's significance. This can be locally or throughout the nation. If you look hard enough across the world, I'm very much sure you can find communities across different nations that love the game of basketball. With how involved this game is around the world, why not go out and watch a game or learn how to play? Okay, got the first one finished. Now I have number two, which is research. And this is to integrate others' positions and perspectives into your writing ethically, appropriately, and effectively in various mediums and technologies. So what I've got here is that I've incorporated my interviewee's feedback, Colby Erler, into my project as a means to explain basketball and to go a little in depth with the sport. I had gotten Colby's audio when we had the interview done on my phone using the voice memos application. I then sent it over from my own phone to my computer to be incorporated into this very project you see yourself viewing. Colby had a lot to say about basketball. I was very surprised as we had passed the 10-minute mark and I had to end it as to not be too long for the audience. Overall, I'm very satisfied with how my interview came out and how it was presented. PowerPoint has been my go-to for all of these MWAs, and that's how I try to make quality projects that could be up to the liking of my instructor, as well as the prompt/rubrics given to me as a student. Okay, SLO number 3, which is reflection. Evaluate your development as a writer over the course of the semester and describe how composing in multiple genres and mediums using various technologies can be applied in other contexts to advance your goals. So I feel over the semester I definitely have gotten better as a writer just because of how often it was required for our various projects as well as the writing prompts/free writes. Over and over, I was required to read chapters and pieces of the reading from the OER and elevations, and then incorporate that into discussion boards. So I'd like to say that boosted my reading and writing skills exceptionally over the semester. Along with this, the last two MWAs put my skills to the test by me having to write a memoir. This needed time to pre-write and brainstorm, so then I got it all together and presented my finished project. My review also helped in my writing by having me assess a location and write a detailed review on it. I myself, as a writer, have not done anything like this before, and I did my best. The peer reviews helped a lot as they provided critical feedback on my work for it to be better than what I had originally planned. Using PowerPoint, audio recording applications, headsets, microphones, and the use of my camera have all had an impact on me as I was always used to pen and paper for assignments and projects. Using these items helped me grow as a writer and as a student so I can now use these skills wherever I shall need them. As always, thank you for your time. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to view my project. And I hope it was to your liking. I hope it was up to par and hope it was entertaining. So I hope you have a good rest of your day and thank you very much.